Hey everyone, and welcome to today's vegan takedown video. In this one, we're going to be commenting on a video that has been going viral online today, not any video that has been posted on YouTube or anything, and it's going to be the story of a white woman who called the cops on a black man. So before we get into it, I'd like to give you some background information on the two people who are involved in the video. The first one is Christian Cooper. He is the one filming. He is a Harvard graduate, former Marvel Comics editor, and now the senior biomedical editor at Health Science Communications. The second one is Amy Cooper. She is the person being filmed. She is the head of insurance investment solutions at Franklin Templeton. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see what was happening from the beginning. He was actually asking Amy if she could leash her dog as they happen to be in a park where there are a lot of birds. And what is Amy's reaction? Let's see.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
I don't know if you realize how she's just dragging the dog by the neck like that, but that is really not a considerate way to move your dog around.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the police.
Obviously, it's a very sad thing that African Americans feel that they have to record these incidences just in case something goes wrong. There's so many cases where the recordings have actually helped in court or even as evidence to what has happened or what didn't happen. And it's really upsetting that even though he just asked her to leash her dog, he felt like, okay, maybe I should film this just in case something goes wrong. And we can see her approaching him and asking him to stop recording her.
Picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops.
She threatens him by saying, I'm gonna call the cops, and he very sincerely just says, yeah, please call the cops, because he knows that he hasn't done anything wrong.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African American man threatening my life.
I'm gonna tell them that there's an African American man threatening my life. I don't even know where to start to point out how many different ways racism and privilege exists. To begin with, the fact that she straight away knows that if she calls the cops, they're gonna be on her side. That's one. And that's why he's filming, because he knows when something goes wrong, he needs to have that evidence. Number two, he says, I'm gonna tell them that an African American man is threatening me. And that is where we have to ask ourselves, well, why does she believe that that matters? If your life is in danger, you don't care who's the one who is threatening you. You care about the fact that someone is threatening you. But when you say the race of that person, in this case African American, she knows very well that that's gonna scare him. Why? Because African Americans are targeted very violently by the police. This woman knows that she can scare him by saying, I'm gonna tell the police there's an African American threatening my life. Because even if that's not true, the fact that he's African American should be enough for him to get in trouble based on her beliefs.
Please tell them whatever you like.
At the same time, we still see her still dragging the dog as if the dog doesn't matter. But I mean, what do you expect from someone who doesn't even understand that racism is wrong?
Excuse me?
At the same time, we also see the dog choking and not being able to breathe well. He can't even put his front paws down. This is obviously a very distressing situation. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably gonna say, are you actually talking about the dog? This is not in any way to say that the dog suffers more, that the dog matters more. I'm not the type of person who would say that one is suffering more than the other, because I don't believe suffering is something to be compared, and I don't believe in suffering Olympics, you know. Every type of suffering is important, and we should address every type of oppression. That being said, we obviously know that in this specific case, the life of the black man is much more in danger than the life of the dog. That doesn't take away from what the dog is experiencing, but it also obviously doesn't take away from what the black man is experiencing. It's just really messed up how all these different types of oppression are connected, and I'm really not surprised that someone who doesn't care about black people or is racist towards black people is also very inconsiderate towards their dog.
I'm sorry, I'm in the ramble, and there is a man, African American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog.
And that's the first part where she says there's a man and then corrects herself and says African American man recording me, threatening me and my dog. Now, he hasn't threatened her dog. What he has asked is that she leashes her dog because you should do that in a park because there's a lot of birds, and there's also signs all around the park asking you to leash your dog. In other words, he has just asked her to obey the rules of the park for the sake of all the animals that live there.
There is an African American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog.
So she repeats the same thing. Meanwhile, the dog is going crazy. He can't even breathe well.
And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the ramble. I don't know.
Thank you.
What the hell was that? Oh my god, what an actress. This is literally, in my opinion, the same thing as pointing a gun to this man's head. Because you know that by acting like that, you're already making the police think that you are in danger. Your life is in danger. You're saying your life is in danger. You're acting, you're almost crying, you've raised your voice, and all he's doing is just standing there and recording. The reason why this is so messed up is that these false accusations can literally destroy his life. If not with a bullet in his head, then by being incarcerated, by being in prison, in jail, his whole life, or a couple of years, or decades, or even one day. He is not threatening her. He is not in any way, shape, or form attacking her for her to act that way on the phone. Now, the reason why I really wanted to comment on this video is simply because it just really disturbed me. It's really disturbing how she's taking advantage of something so horrible like police brutality and incarceration of African Americans in the United States of America. And she's doing it to a man who is simply recording her after asking her to leash her dog. This is so disturbing. I have literally no words for this. And you know what? When you go back in history, this is not something new. Not that long ago, a white woman could make any claim or any accusation against a black man and he would get killed, he would go to prison. You know, this is not something to take so lightly. And I wanted to raise awareness on this. Although the content of the video is not necessarily concentrated on animal rights, I did want to share this because we are seeing her being completely speciesist towards her dog and completely racist towards the African American man. That being said, I also just want to raise awareness to what happened to another African American the same day in Minneapolis, Minnesota, George Floyd, who was arrested by the police. A bystander was recording a 10-minute full live Facebook video when the police arrested him, handcuffed him, put him on the ground, and then one policeman put his knee on his neck. Now George started saying, "I can't breathe, please let me breathe." He started choking, he started asking for water. He just asked them to let him breathe easily, and they didn't let him do that. Bystanders were asking the policeman to take his knee off of his neck. He didn't pay any attention. The other policeman didn't do anything about it until George fell unconscious. When he was unconscious, he kept his knee on his neck for another around 4 minutes until the ambulance arrived, and when he was taken to the hospital, he was announced dead. Now, in this second story, obviously there's no animal rights involved, but it did happen the same day, and I do want to raise awareness about it because there's always a chance that the same thing or just anything in the same context could have happened to this innocent man who was just asking a white woman to leash her dog. After the video went viral, Franklin Templeton, the company she works for, made a tweet in which they said, "Following our internal review of the incident in Central Park yesterday, we have made a decision to terminate the employee involved effectively immediately. We do not tolerate racism of any kind at Franklin Templeton." So this is obviously good to see. I hope more and more companies take responsibility and a strong stance against racism and show that it will never be tolerated. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please share this video to raise awareness about speciesism and racism. I do want to say one more time that the case at Central Park is not in any way more important just because there is a dog abuse involved. I am sharing it because this channel is an animal rights based channel and I did want to use the story to raise awareness about racism as well. That being said, the dog has also been taken to a shelter right now, which is great to hear. At the same time, Amy Cooper is saying that she is not racist and her whole life is being ruined because of what happened. Well, guess what, Amy? The second you called the cops and said there is an African American man threatening me and my dog, you pulled the trigger to destroy the life of this innocent man. And anything that is happening to you right now is a direct consequence of what you did, not what he did. Thank you again for watching. If you want to support my work, check out my website or ethicsoverhabits.com if you are interested in buying vegan merchandise or zero waste products, all ethically made using organic materials. If you want to watch any other vegan takedown video, then just click on the playlist and enjoy. I'll see you in the next video.